All right, welcome back to
Boring Land.
Before we get into this video, just a few things of housekeeping. We do have a Patreon page. Please check out. I couldn't say that word for some reason. Please check out our Patreon page, and if you feel so inclined, go and give us some love and some support there. Also, I've been putting on the first 2 chapters of my book, The Legend of Sturgis Baraha. I put a lot of time into getting some images and having the words on there. If you like audiobooks, this is more like an audiobook on YouTube. Go ahead and check that out and enjoy the first 2 chapters. Let me know what you think about that. As for today, we are going to give you our review and our thoughts on
Badla. Now, after our last review of Pink, and we had no idea who Amram Batcha was, you guys were actually kind, though.
You were.
Think about it. They were kind in the comments. Oh. Had somebody made that mistake about a Leonardo DiCaprio, Al Pacino, or I mean, I know you don't like Pacino as much, but I like Pacino. But a really respected actor, Tom Hanks, they would have got torn up. Like, you know what? You don't know who that is. So
yeah, I was cracking up with some of the comments, like, "Who is this guy? He stings!" Ha ha ha! Like,
yeah, but no, Amram Batcham was amazing in Pink, and after watching that, we were so excited. We decided to watch Badla because he's in there as well. And I'll be honest, I first went in there with some trepidation because my one comment, or the one disparaging comment I had about Pink, was I didn't like the female actress, the main lead, because I thought that she was a little bit weak. She got overshadowed by a lot of people. Her name was
Taapsee Pannu. And, like you said, in Pink, she was not our favorite.
Nope.
She wasn't bad, but she just was not my strongest, it wasn't the strongest acting performance. But in Badla, man, my opinion on her changed in the first 5 or 10 minutes that she's in there. She really stepped it up. And she looked different in this movie. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was like the makeup they had on her, but she just, everything about her just seemed more confident. Yeah, she was playing that kind of character too. But she is fantastic. So, Taapsee, we apologize for our previous comments because you really know how to act.
I tell you what, this movie is probably the closest, I think, a movie Indian cinema that's just straight. This was a thriller. We don't have to find a different box to put it in. It's not a like horror comedy like Street was. This is just a thriller. And as far as it being a thriller, a crime thriller, this was amazing, man. This movie was amazing.
Amazing and unique because most of it takes place in her kitchen, for crying out loud, where she's talking to this lawyer guy about her case. She's first 5 seconds you find out she's up for attempted murder of a boyfriend she had. She says she's innocent. And when I'm watching the movie, I'm like, okay, I'm on her side. She's the main character. She's got to be innocent. It's going to be one of those kind of movies.
Right.
Her lawyer hires this big shot lawyer to come in. Once again, he's a lawyer, right?
Right.
And brings him in. And she's like, you're early, but that's okay. Come on in. And he's, if I'm going to represent you, if I'm going to help you out, you're going to arrest you in a few hours here. We got a short time. I need to know everything. Tell me the entire story.
Right. And I tell you what, at first, I was concerned because I saw it going that way. And my opinion on her from the first movie, I'm like, oh, this is going to be that kind of a movie. And right away, for whatever reason, it reminded me of one of my favorite movies of all time, The Usual Suspects, where a big part of that movie was just 2 actors. And when you have to play off of it's just 2 actors, A Usual Suspect has Kevin Spacey, and anyway, it was, you have to have equally paired actors there. And we knew Amram Batcha was up to the task. We didn't know if she was. Well, she was. And their banter back and forth, okay, their arguments, their conversation was so engaging. And it was what you would see of a lawyer who's like, look, stop giving me the fluff. I got to defend you. You cannot lie to me. Lie to everybody else. I need to know what's going on because I need to know how to defend you. And he came at her very cold and very callous, but she gave it back to him like, look, I'm paying you. And it was awesome. Their interactions were awesome.
Great chemistry.
Yes.
I'm curious if that's why they were paired together again, because they worked together previously. But I mean, I was with you. I learned really early on, I was picking up that this is probably going to take place in this kitchen with them talking the entire movie. And I was okay with that. I was sitting back and relaxing, and I was enjoying the stories. I was enjoying the flashback. This is what happened. And as the movie was going on, I remember one of the comments when they were requesting this said something like, it's not going to be what you expect. So I had that in the back of my mind. So I'm not a super genius.
Right.
But as I was watching it, I was thinking about these two characters, and I'm thinking to myself, for some reason, I gravitated to her, so I trusted her right away.
Right.
And I was thinking, this guy, you're telling him everything. You just met him today. I was thinking early on, maybe halfway through, before anything gets a little sketchy, why do you trust this guy? I mean, and I was thinking, is this guy going to betray her at the end? And then the movie goes on, and then, like, the second half, it's just twist after twist after turn after turn. And I was like, oh, I was wrong. Oh, maybe I was right. Oh, no, I was wrong. Oh, maybe I was right. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and be that guy like, oh, I knew it the whole time. But because I knew that there was something I wasn't going to expect, I automatically thought about him. And that's where the direction of this movie was excellent. It tells you the point of view of her. Every story has two sides. And then the other possible point of views, and then it brings in a few other characters. And as the movie goes on, you're seeing what happens. It starts off as a tragedy, like, oh, that's just a horrible situation.
Right.
Maybe I can understand her doing that. I can't understand what she did in the swamp. That I would never be able to do.
Right.
And then you find out later on that there was more to that, and I'm just like, no.
It was even worse.
And so then I'm like, okay, maybe, man, I know this movie's been out for a little bit, not too long. I don't want to give too much away, but you kind of can't talk about this without giving things away.
Sorry, guys. Spoiler alert. Stop it right now. Watch it, then come back. It's on Netflix.
We enjoy the movie a lot.
We enjoy the movie a lot. Gonna get a good grade, so stop, watch it, and then come back. All right, here's the thing. She's up for murder. And then the way I love what they did, because they could have played any other story, but what they did was saying, wait, she's up for murder of an ex-boyfriend, but spoiler alert, she's a mother who's already married. So she's an adulterer. So right away in their mind, they put she's a bad person. But wait, then you start seeing the story from her perspective, and she was trying to break it off with the guy. It was just a mistake.
Trying to call the cops when the accident happened.
There was an accident because they were leaving when she was supposed to be in Paris closing the deal. They were leaving the cabin, get into an accident, and the guy off of the other person got into an accident with ends up dying. They panic because someone sees them. They're not supposed to be there. The boyfriend says think, because the boyfriend also, spoiler alert, is married. And they're like, you know what? If we call the cops, they're going to know we weren't in Paris and we weren't where we were supposed to be. So, what do we do? So they decided, right, we're going to get rid of this car, get rid of the body.
And the other driver, he's already dead.
He's already dead.
We're gonna be put up for attempted murder. We didn't do anything. We know we didn't do anything, but we've got to clean this up before witnesses come out.
Right.
I personally, knowing myself, I would have said, okay, dump me right now. I know you're gonna hate me, but I'm calling the cops. That's just the way I am.
Forget about that.
But,
I mean,
on the outside chance, I can kind of relate to what they're doing. But I mean, it's just so interesting when we get her point of view. Maybe that's why I was defending her in my mind. Like, okay, she's she's in the right. He's gonna figure out some way to help her out. I mean, it's just so many twists and turns. And then you meet the parents of the driver.
Right.
And they're so sweet and they're so helpful and they're just so proud of their son. And then you realize it's their son. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is hard to watch, but I can't stop watching.
Oh, the twist was awesome there, because what happens is, the boyfriend ends up, staging the accident scene, and he takes the other person's phone, the guy that got into a car accident, puts it in his pocket. You completely forgot about that detail. She drives away the car to get rid of it with the body in there, and now he can't start this car, her car, because it was just in an accident. Well, this lovely couple comes by, very helpful, very gracious, good Samaritans. Oh, your car's messed up. I'm a mechanical engineer, whatever. I can fix it. We're going to take you back to our house, offer you food, offer you shelter, fix your car free of charge.
Give you everything you want.
And when you get there, you just found out the guy that got into a car accident that you killed, even though it was an accident, it's their kid. And now, it was...
And then he gets up and the phone's ringing and they know their son's ringtone.
And
he was pretty slick with that, where he's like, oh, I found this on the seat. I must have been sitting on it
because he got it in his pocket. So they're like, he would never leave his phone home. Anyway, fast forward through the story a little bit. Then she tells the story to the lawyer, and right away, he looks at her and says, don't waste our time. We've already wasted 15 minutes on these fairy tales.
But I told you everything.
Yeah, but I told you everything. He said, you did not tell me anything. Did you tell me about this? And then she was like, oh. So now she's not only she's an adulterer, she's a liar. So you're like, okay, well, let's go back into the story. Now she retells it. Well, this is how it happened. And I forgot what part had changed about in her story, but every time
one thing was a swamp because he was actually still alive.
Yes.
And he was knocking on the trunk door.
He was at the guy once they drove into the swamp and staged this whole car accident scene, and she's about to push the car into the swamp to get rid of it. The guy starts banging on the trunk. He's alive, and now she still traps him in them and throws him in there. Like every time they keep giving you the story, you think the worst of her. You're like, wow, this woman is horrible. She did do it, whatever. And come to find out at the end that she is a bad person and she's going to get her upcomings. But Amitabh Bachchan, this guy has never lost a case. That's why her lawyer went and got it, because he knew she was so guilty that he says, I can't win this case. We're going to get you the best. We're lucky we even got him. This guy's never lost a case. And the guy is like, okay, I need to know how to defend you, because if I know what you're guilty of, they can't surprise me.
I'm not going to lose.
I'm not going to lose. And he's so confident about it. And since he was poking her holes in her story, I just kept feeling more confident, like, man, he is gonna get her out of this. Is this gonna be one of these movies where the villain wins? Because she was basically the villain of the movie. And
I mean, you find out that she does admit it. She's like, yeah, basically I was the one driving the whole thing and the whole cover up. And I want to get into Amitabh Bachchan's character and the big spoiler, obviously, because there's some tells when you go back, and if you watch it a second time, there's some tells that the director gives you those clues. That are awesome. The obvious tells are, okay, so first of all, his character is really the son who was murdered in the back of the car's father.
Yes.
And he put on a whole getup, and it was like Mission Impossible style. He had the mask and everything, and they show you the real lawyer character, and he does look similar, but you can see how it's not exactly the same. So I kind of like that. But then you think about him being the father the whole time and not this lawyer as he's talking to her. And there's little tells in there that are awesome. Obviously, the obvious one is, oh, you're early. Well, he's early because he's not the real guy, and he wants to get in there before the real guy shows up so he can get all the information. He's got all those notepads, and he's taking notes here and there. So then when he tells her to pinpoint on the map where the body's at, it doesn't seem so obvious out of place because he's just methodical and meticulous with all the notes. Once he leaves all the notes he doesn't need. He didn't do anything on them. He was just using that as a ploy.
Right.
And then the thing that I was thinking about the most afterwards was when she told him that the guy was still alive and pounding on it.
Right.
Didn't he lose his cool the most at that scene as a lawyer?
He broke his character a little bit.
How can you do that? I can't save you now. How'd you... And you think about it, why was he really losing his cool?
Because that was his son.
Because he realized his son still could have lived out the whole thing. His son could have
still lived, yeah.
He maybe could have accepted it if his son was dead.
Right.
But those little tells to me is brilliant filmmaking, brilliant writing, and brilliant set piece. And I know I kind of jumped to the end there, but I love that so much. The Ronnie character, was she kind of annoying throughout the way she was portrayed? Yes. But she was a mother who was not going to give up on who her son was, especially when they started calling him a thief and whatnot. She embodied that you don't mess with the mom.
No.
There's no way you mess with a mom when they care and they love about their child, which 99.9% of moms do. But I mean, the acting was superb. The story was superb. I didn't need to go to too many places because what they gave me was great. And we're spoiled right now. I keep saying this, that we keep getting these requests for these movies that are these people's favorite movies.
Right.
And they're just home runs every single time because of these awesome requests.
Right. Well, think about it. If we were doing it and if she was on the other foot, we're not going to recommend bad movies. We're going to give you the top movies. We're going to give you the back of Star Wars, top movies, Avengers, things like The Usual Suspects, which, again, this movie reminded me the most of The Usual Suspects. And then when we got all those twists, it was exactly like The Usual Suspect, because in The Usual Suspect, there's a huge twist at the end of that movie as well.
Gotta watch it if you
Gotta watch it. I'm not going to spoil that one.
One of the best twists of all time.
But man, I tell you what, it was so satisfying. And then I like it when a filmmaker can trick me, because I missed every one of those signs, man. One that you didn't mention was when they first run into the other boyfriend, or her boyfriend, and they're talking just in conversation. Oh, he's a classically trained actor. They always say that he's the best actor, and when you go to the house, you see all the statues there. The guy has won awards. Yeah, the guy is a decorated actor, so that's why he would feel comfortable enough to go into place and play the character of someone who's. It's not like a normal dad. This guy's a trained actor, classical actor. He has a lot of accolades for it. So. Obviously, it's not the first time he's done. Obviously, what he did. This is the first time he did this, but not gone in. I mean, as far as play a role like that,
time, yeah.
But
this guy lost in a role, and I also wonder did that true lawyer never win a case, or is that just his way of saying you can trust me, but I want you to give me this information so I need her to trust me by saying I never lost it?
It was her. Remember, her lawyer told her, "We're lucky he took this case. This guy's 4 weeks away from retiring, and he's never lost a case."
So her lawyer says
her
that?
lawyer says that. So this, and he said, "I did my homework. We researched this lawyer. We followed him. We knew who he was. So they went in there. And again, her having never met the lawyer because she's only seen him on TV. She wasn't expecting. She didn't know what to expect. The guy got there early. She's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, because when she said, I was expecting you much later. Well. Right now, they got a new witness, which means they're probably we're 3 hours away from them knocking on the door and serving you with a subpoena. So we need to get ahead of this. And he played it off perfectly. It was a masterful acting performance. And I tell you what, I like this one better than Pink, and I like this acting. Amitabh Bachchan was amazing in this movie. He was so he commanded the performance.
I don't know if I go that far because Pink was powerful. Now. Again,
the story was more powerful.
The grade may be higher, may be lower. That's neither near here nor there. But I don't know. Now, talking about grades, there was a request out there for us to explain our grade system. So let's our rating system. Somebody just explain that. Since we're teachers, we go with the grade system. Here in America, A is the best grade, then it goes B, C, D, and then F is failing. F for failing, D for danger of failing, C is average. So if we give a movie a C, it doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It's just an average movie. There was good parts, there was bad parts. It was just okay. For me and my grades, a B and an A, those are those better movies. A B is a really good movie, but not a great movie. But still really, really good. An A, I go A minus, A, and then A plus. A plus is those best movies. Those are those movies that I know I'm going to watch a million times. Solid A is still an amazing grade, and an A minus is an amazing grade. So I think a lot of the confusion that A minus makes it worse than like a C or something. No, that's the third highest grade. But just for whatever reasons, I'm not going to put everything at A plus because that would just negate the entire system. And I have yet to give a movie an A++, but that would just be for like those movies like The Last Night, Transformers. That was an F.
How dare you?
I hate that movie.
How dare you, The Last Night, Transformers. Oh, Michael Bay.
No, an A++ would be like a all-time classic, like one of my favorites of all time, The Karate Kid with Ralph Macchio. That would be an A++ easy. I've watched it at least 100 times, and I still get excited and still cry and all that kind of stuff.
I own The Usual Suspects on iTunes, and I play it on my iPhone sometimes just when I'm grading papers, just to listen to the dialogue, man.
to get uplifted?
Not uplifted, but that's
villain.
Yeah, that's what we're talking. The villain. That's why, of course, I told you, man, I was dark.
So talking about grades, I'm gonna give my grade for Badla. This is a tough movie to grade because it's such a unique film. But was it a smart film? Yes.
Very.
Did it have me guessing? Yes. Did it have great acting? Yes. Great score? Not really. I mean, it was good. It was kind of average. I didn't get any of the dance scenes, but that's not this kind of movie.
Nope.
We had our homie Amitabh Bachchan in it.
Amazing performance.
We had the girl from Pink that really stepped up, Miss Topsy. And so I'm going to give Badla, and again, this is not a bad grade, I'm going to give it an A minus. Why an A minus? Just because when you have a film that has twists at the end, and I love twists, some of it comes off a little convenient. Now, in this one, they did a really good job of covering themselves. The lawyer, her real lawyer, he was on an airplane. That's why he wasn't there to introduce him. But for getting a lawyer who has never had a meet and greet, and coming to you in the 11th hour and desperation, that part was a little bit of a stretch, but it had to be there for the film to work out. And I wanted to get a little more of the boyfriend's perspective. We got the hypothetical and probably what happened, and that's ended up what happening. But that's why it's an A minus for me. I just wanted a little more from him. I feel like he was vilified for most of the film, and then he was barely redeemed. And I would have wanted to see more of the parents, to tell you the truth. We got a lot of them, but we got most of it from her perspective, where they were just these crazy psychopaths, especially the mom. But I'm going A minus. That was a long explanation.
A minus. Well, I will tell you this. Having watched this movie, I almost like it when a movie can keep me guessing. I like it when a movie can at times make me feel dumb, like, oh wow, I did not see that coming. You know what I mean? You're suspended in disbelief, like wow. And this movie did that for me. The acting performances were there. The twist was there. You know, the entire story was amazing. Again, I was not expecting this kind of performance from Topsy. Yes, from Amitabh Bachchan, but not from Topsy. And she brung it. And again, here I go again. I love villains because a lot of times their storylines are much more.
Did you like her more when you found she was bad?
Absolutely. Okay. Ding, ding, ding. Absolutely. So I'm gonna give this movie an A+. This is, wow. I'm telling you, what movie did I compare it to, man? The Usual Suspects. I own this thing and still playing.
Wow.
That's how much I love this movie. I was like, wow, did not see that twist coming. I love the fact that the lawyer was so convincing at his thing, and every time that's what it would be like, where you're talking to your lawyer, he's like, bro, if I don't believe you, the judge isn't gonna believe you. Tell me the truth. I'm gonna be here to defend you. He reminds me of, have you ever seen there's a YouTube documentary on the guy that they based Saul Goodman off of, from Better Call Saul and from Breaking Bad. That character is actually based on a real lawyer, I think it's Rubenstein, something like that, in New York. And every major athlete or actor, P. Diddy, they're interviewing all of them. They're like, yeah, when you get in trouble or you got a problem, that's a person you call, period. If you're in trouble, you don't want a criminal lawyer, you want a criminal lawyer. And that's what this guy played it off like. Look, I know you did this, I can get you out of that, but I need you to tell me what I'm going to walk into. I can't walk into a landmine. And he played that role amazingly. So I'm giving it an A+.
Yeah, and he played that role knowing that deep down he's actually playing a different character, pretending to be that character, which I can't imagine how hard that would be, and he did that flawlessly.
And like you said, he only broke character that one time.
And he still held it pretty good together. Yeah, great film. Thanks so much for the request on that. If you're new to Board Reviews, check out some other content out there we have. Give us a thumbs up for this one if you liked our review. We are loving the feedback that we get from our reviews. We love doing reviews. This is why we started this channel, because we talk about movies anyways.
All the time.
We figure out maybe there might be someone who wants to hear it. And so the fact that we get so much love on our reviews, we appreciate that. Keep it coming. Don't be shy about sharing our videos with your friends and getting boring reviews out there and having more people part of Boring Land.
Boring Land.
But we're always learning, but we're really appreciating all this. And I have one announcement to make real quick before we end this video. And you don't even know this yet, but I've been thinking a lot about this the last few days. And who knows if I'll be successful at it, but I am going to begin to learn how to speak Hindi.
Wow. Yes,
I am. You heard it first here. So I may not get started for a few weeks, but there's a program out there that promises 30 days. Now, who knows how many hours you got to spend it. I'm not saying in 30 days I'll be fluent, but I am just loving this Indian cinema so much that I really want to connect more with our audience and be able to give better videos. So I'm going to learn some Hindi, and I'm going to try to get pretty decent at it. I've never learned another language before, so no promises.
There's that app that they talk that the kids are using to learn Spanish, and you learn it like in 30 days, or
this
you
can learn Peninsula or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's a thank you to our audience
cool.
I mean, I still love America, don't get me wrong, and I still love speaking English, but I definitely want to expand that part.
And you know what? And even if you get to speak it, maybe you'll get to understand it. And a lot of times, being able to understand it, then you'll get some of the nuances in the movie.
The dream would be able to turn the subtitles off so I can sit back and enjoy what's going on. Who knows about that? But without further ado,
until next time, adios.
I was trying to think of something.